Come on, Savannah.
3, 2, 1, face off. Face forward, please, guys. Perfect.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you, guys.
All right, good. We're moving. Let's go.
Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry finally stood face-to-face this week, and the location couldn't have been more fitting. Not inside an arena, not behind a hotel conference room podium. In front of the Rocky statue at the base of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the exact spot where 50 years of underdog stories have been photographed by fans making the same pilgrimage Garry himself is now attempting inside the octagon. The Staredown itself told half the story before either man said a word. Garry, standing with a genuine 5-inch height advantage over the reigning champion, towered over Makhachev as the two locked eyes for the cameras. That size gap, confirmed on the record heading into fight week, is exactly the physical reality both camps have spent months building their entire game plans around. Watching it play out in person, rather than just reading the numbers on a stat sheet, made the scale of what Makhachev is walking into feel immediately real. But the face-off itself was only the visual centerpiece of a week that's turned genuinely heated between these two men. Garry hasn't been shy about exactly how confident he is heading into Saturday night, and his comments on the UFC 330 Countdown special left absolutely no room for interpretation. "Islam's never fought anybody as long and tall as I am," Garry said, "let alone somebody who moves the way I move. He doesn't have a chance against me on the feet, and I need to see him unconscious. There's no excuses when I beat him." That's about as direct a challenge as a fighter can issue heading into a title fight, dismissing the champion's chances entirely in the one area, striking, where Makhachev has actually improved the most dramatically throughout his championship run. Makhachev's response wasn't rattled so much as dismissive, treating Garry's confidence as something he's heard from opponent after opponent throughout his 16-fight winning streak. "Everybody say before the fight, 'I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna finish Islam,'" Makhachev said, framing Garry's bold prediction as familiar territory rather than a genuine threat. He didn't stop there either, promising a very specific kind of outcome once the cage door closes. "We will make him respectful," Makhachev said, a comment that reads less like typical pre-fight bravado and more like a direct warning about exactly what kind of pressure he intends to bring from the opening bell. That exchange captures the real tension defining this entire buildup. It's not just about who wins. It's a genuine clash of styles and philosophies playing out through the trash talk itself. Garry's entire case rests on the belief that his height, reach, and movement create a striking matchup Makhachev simply hasn't faced before at this level. Makhachev's response suggests he's heard that exact argument from every confident challenger he's ever faced, and that none of it has mattered once the actual fight started. It's worth noting how the two men's records back up why each side feels this confident heading into fight week. Garry hasn't scored a stoppage since 2023, with his last 6 fights all going to the judges' scorecards, a detail that actually cuts against his own promise to finish Makhachev. A knockout win over the champion would mark just the second loss of Makhachev's entire career, a genuinely historic result given how rarely anyone has managed to hurt him seriously inside the octagon since that 2015 defeat. Garry's confidence about finishing Makhachev on the feet, then, isn't just bold. It would represent a complete departure from his own recent fighting pattern, which raises real questions about whether that specific prediction reflects a genuine game plan or simply fight week bravado. There's real substance behind Makhachev's dismissiveness too, beyond simple confidence. Longtime AKA coach Javier Mendez revealed that Makhachev has actually added 11 pounds of muscle heading into this fight, and that the champion has made it clear he prefers competing at welterweight going forward rather than dropping back down to 155 pounds. That's a significant detail. A fighter adding real mass specifically for this weight class, rather than simply making the jump reluctantly, suggests Makhachev is treating this as a genuine long-term home rather than a one-off experiment. If that added strength translates into even more forceful control once grappling exchanges begin, it directly undercuts the exact size advantage Garry has been building his entire prediction around. Garry, for his part, has made his own equally significant preparation adjustments. He relocated specifically to train with Demian Maia in Brazil ahead of this fight, seeking out one of the most technically decorated jiu-jitsu practitioners the sport has ever produced to help shore up exactly the area of his game Makhachev's camp has identified as the biggest vulnerability. That's not the move of a fighter relying purely on confidence and physical tools. It's a targeted, specific investment in solving the one problem that could derail his entire game plan the moment the fight hits the mat. The stakes attached to Saturday night extend well beyond the belt itself. Belal Muhammad, who lost a competitive decision to Garry earlier this year, weighed in publicly on what a win here would actually mean for Makhachev's legacy. This win would put him on MMA's Mount Rushmore, Muhammad said, arguing that extending the 16-fight winning streak past Anderson Silva's UFC record, while also becoming the first fighter to successfully defend titles across 2 weight classes with this level of dominance, would firmly cement Makhachev among the greatest fighters the sport has ever produced. That's a significant statement coming from someone who's actually shared the cage with Garry recently and understands exactly what kind of threat he represents. There's a broader cultural moment wrapped around this fight week too, one that goes beyond just these two men. Philadelphia is celebrating the 50th anniversary of Rocky this year, and the UFC has leaned directly into that symbolism, encouraging fans to run the 72 famous steps of the art museum and take their own photo with the statue during Fight Week festivities. Garry, the significant betting underdog stepping into enemy territory against the sport's dominant pound-for-pound champion, fits that underdog narrative almost too perfectly. Whether he's writing his own version of that story or simply borrowing its imagery for a photo opportunity is exactly what Saturday night is going to determine. Both men enter this fight with genuinely elite resumes backing up their confidence. Makhachev sits at 28-1, with his only loss coming back in 2015, riding that historic 16-fight winning streak into his first title defense at welterweight after a dominant debut win over Jack Della Maddalena. Garry enters at 17-1, having earned this opportunity through wins over Carlos Prates and Belal Muhammad, a genuinely difficult path that's put him at number 1 in the rankings heading into the biggest fight of his career. Garry has also talked openly about what's actually driving him heading into this moment, framing it in terms that go beyond simple competition. I just have a burning desire inside my soul to prove to myself and the world that I am the best ever, he said in promotional footage released ahead of the fight. This is a vicious, violent game, and it's beautiful. You've got to be insane mentally to be able to go out and do this. He tied that motivation directly to his roots too, emphasizing his identity as a fighter from Dublin stepping into the biggest opportunity of his career on foreign soil, thousands of miles from home, against a champion widely considered the best pound-for-pound fighter currently competing. So where does all of this leave things heading into Saturday night at Xfinity Mobile Arena? A heated, genuine rivalry that's played out through real physical preparation changes on both sides, not just trash talk for the cameras. Makhachev bulking up and committing to welterweight long-term. Garry relocating across the world to specifically patch the exact hole in his game that could decide this entire fight. And a face-off in front of one of the most iconic underdog symbols in American sports history, setting the stage for a matchup that genuinely could go either way, regardless of how lopsided the betting markets currently read it. What's your read heading into fight night? Does Garry's height, reach, and targeted jiu-jitsu preparation give him the tools to back up everything he said at that face-off? Or does Makhachev's added strength and relentless pressure make good on his promise to make Garry respectful? It's rare to see a fight week build-up carry this much genuine substance behind the trash talk, real training relocations, real physical transformations, and a face-off staged in front of one of the most recognizable underdog symbols in the world. Let us know your prediction in the comments, and subscribe for full UFC 330 coverage as Fight Week reaches its final stretch.